I'm going to sit here and open my book, and I'm going to read alone, but out there to you guys, a few words. And you can, hopefully when you look through this book, you'll see me on a horse there, looking at the mountains with a moon. The brief present and the long future, hopefully. And if there be 7,000 myriads of worlds, they all spring from one cause, and there they end. For the gods of nature were the first and the last of everything. And as a cloud obscures the sun, time never vanishes. Although a tiny mist of words to darken my mind throws a light, sunning myself like the moth, it takes a moment for me to work out what I actually remembered to write. So I'm turning the lights off, carrying that flame of love, and the fire of escape to somewhere I was never invited. And to be patient. My hands firmly upon the reins of thought. Self-control being strength, calmness is power, and I felt well balanced. Circumstance does not make the man. It reveals him to himself, often though I wear my horse and myself out, chasing shadows as I sat on my horse, lost in thought, looking at the mountains near Yellowstone National Park. And it's true that when you're traveling alone, your mind fills up naturally with the people that you're fond of and the people you've left behind. But for myself, I soon grow familiar with the feelings of being alone, full of an adventurous freedom. Having left my home in England with only the clothes I was wearing, and it certainly speeds up the process of getting out of an airport terminal, carrying only a pair of leather saddlebags. I never did like carrying a suitcase. They were thrown over my shoulders. As I look back on it now, I think to myself, I can clearly see and feel the grades by which I descended from a sane, healthy guy to something meaner and nearer. A solitary nutcase, really, because I felt kind of angry at myself for being so frustrated. But then, whatever the reasons, life and death, they're sending the thoughts around different paths, aren't they, in life? So I know my life was going to become very different. So why the hell, when you get married, is there a godly saying, till death we do part? I wasn't dead, and neither was she. So in fact, I thought to myself, well, I'll get away. I gave every penny away anyway, and I didn't have a lot of money. So I thought, well, I got to get away and just live free. Nature. So let me mentally examine the matter before I fill up the air with woe and break apart that shelter canopy of a love heaven wide open and drift back like an old exhaust in mental memory of fumes, really. It's a stimulation to the sensory nerve when you're out on your own. And what always helps me is a horse. So I shrank closer to myself. And I had grave doubts, which I think occur naturally to people in similar situations. And I was a solitary outdoors person anyways. So there was no exception to me feeling the winds and the shadows of gloom in that dominant wind. So my understanding of nature's wildness certainly has changed since my brain surgery. There's a kind of transformation because my past living memories, whenever I go to investigate of any past thoughts, the consciousness is found so easily, and something comes to me, and the memories just, they rise, and I feel like it was a habit. And you know what habits are like sometimes. When you get into a habit of doing something within, you feel responsible, really, for every breath you take. And it's like little brooklets of a stream are released from those icy confines, and I go laughing and rippling along in a winding way, like a stream. Sometimes I feel like a stick you've thrown in a stream, and I just become driftwood in the mind. And so I get a pen and paper, and it's normally a pencil. I just start writing.